The following is a 5 for 2 production. And now, virtually live from somewhere in America, it's the show you love. It's Reverend Todd Baker's What the Hell Was That?
Well, hello, America, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of What the Hell Was That? I'm your host, Reverend Todd Baker, and with me, as always, is my my buddy and my partner in crime, Kevin Monavon. Kevin, how are ya?
How you doing, Todd?
Doing good, buddy. I hear we got some special effects and shit we can play with tonight.
Oh yeah, we have a live studio audience here this evening. They're
Awesome.
Very excited.
Nice. Ooh.
Very excited to see you back here and on the air.
My loyal following. And good. All right, well, all right, so let's get to it. We got a lot to talk about this week. As of right now, our top story tonight, Joe Biden is still the president. Sorry, Trumpies. That's, just the way it's going to roll. So as of right now, we are into our second impeachment trial of Donald J. Trump. Personally, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I think it's just a bit of political theater. But, I think it will be nice to get about 44 Republican senators on record saying that they support a man who created a domestic terrorist attack on our national capital. So good. We can get them all on record for that. On another positive note, the QAnon Queen of Georgia has been permanently kicked off all of her goddamn assignments. So that bitch can just go troll the internet for fucking tinfoil theories all she wants all goddamn day, because she ain't gonna have nothing else to do in the House of Representatives for the next 2 years except wait to get her fucking crazy ass thrown out. So moving on, we are hopefully in the process now of moving on with the Biden administration and some of their policy choices. Some have been, controversial already. For example, stopping the Keystone XL pipeline, which is something that Obama did, Trump undid, and then Biden redid. So it's, this thing's really like, first of all, there's only about 12 fucking people that have been working on this thing, okay? It's not like there's no thousands of jobs being lost, folks. And secondly, we're driving a goddamn pipeline right through Native Americans' back fucking yards, okay? So if you have any respect for the people who were here first, then, maybe we shouldn't be running a pipeline through their fucking goddamn, family funeral plots, okay? Let's have a little respect for the Native Americans, please. So, now if for those of you who do think that oil and coal are a good solution to our economic woes right now, I'd like to remind you that both those items will run out eventually. So, maybe it's time we actually try to start looking for alternative fuel sources. Now, Kevin and I have discussed this idea several times before, and we've discussed this on the show. I think it's a pretty simple solution. Hemp, motherfuckers. It's not that easy. Dude, why should we grow corn and then use it to make gasoline when we're using up our own food sources? Let's grow some fucking weed and use that for a fuel source, okay? How does that not make sense to anybody? And then folks, let me tell you something. I come from a long line of coal miners in Wheeling, West Virginia. The only reason my dad didn't become a coal miner is because, well, A, he valued his education, and B, got polio when he was 17. Who the fuck's gonna put you down in a goddamn, coal mine when you can't even fucking walk? He was in a goddamn, iron lung for 2 fucking years. So, so folks, let me tell you something. Being in a coal mine is not the greatest job in the world. You could ask any coal miner. I'm pretty sure they would tell you if they could make the money they made by going into the fucking ground and risking their goddamn lives every night by staying above ground and growing some fucking weed, I'm pretty sure they choose that option. So now, again, I'm not downplaying the importance of oil and coal and gasoline in our country. it has kept a very small handful of people wealthy rich for a long fucking time. For those of you who don't know this or may not understand this, but our country is essentially controlled by a very small number of people who've got a shitload of money. And this is not a QAnon conspiracy. I'm not talking about the Rothschilds here. I'm talking about the fucking, I'm talking about the Americans, motherfuckers. I'm talking about, the people who ran our steel industry and our oil industry and our newspapers, like the Hearst industry, who still fucking have, television and radio stations all across America. So, folks, this has been going on in our country for a long damn time. And, for those who are complaining about keeping our children out of school during a pandemic, and that our children are suffering because they need to have some sort of social, contact with others. They have to be able to live normal lives. The teenage suicide rate is going up. Folks, let me tell you something. 100 years ago, we were putting fucking kids in coal mines, all right? And now these kids feel like they're being, pressured or they're being abused because they can't make it to fucking soccer practice or go ride their horsey. Fuck you. Stay home and read a book. I got no fucking sympathy for these kids. I'm sorry, maybe because I don't have any of my own. But, look, I'm sure it's a bit traumatic for those who are used to having some sort of social life. But let me tell you, folks, as someone who had very few friends in middle school and high school, I really don't think I would have missed out on taking a year fucking off of school. Be happy about it, kids. Lighten up. Now, as far as the administration goes, I think we need to take some big, broad steps early on here. I think Joe's doing a relatively decent job for what he's got. Now, first of all, he wasn't left with dick when it came to the vaccines available to him, and we're still having a very hard time getting these actual vaccines out into the arms of Americans. So obviously that's priority number one. Priority number two is get these fucking checks rolling, folks. I want to buy a car. Let's go. I want a new job. I don't want to go back to working in restaurants. I want to fucking drive for Uber or something like that. Be my own goddamn boss. I'm sick and tired of having bosses. I've never liked them. Why should I go back to it? So Joe, let's get this fucking money rolling. And I tell you what, folks, if I can get unemployment through September, I ain't going back to work till October, motherfuckers, because I know for a fact that I am going to have to spend the rest of my life, no matter how many years that may be, toiling away at some underpaying, uninspiring job that I would rather not be at. So why not just hold off as long as I possibly can? That's my attitude. I'm sorry. I may sound like a lazy white American, but God damn it, at least I'm getting some writing done. At least I'm getting some podcasts out there. At least I'm actually being, some sort of productive and creative human being and doing something that I actually want to do with my life. Like stand-up comedy, for example. Now, obviously right now, the stand-up comedy market is about as dead as every other entertainment field right now. However, after watching a 5-part documentary on Showtime about the history of the Comedy Store, I'm kind of inspired, Kevin. To be honest, I don't know. Have you seen this special or not? Do you know what I'm talking about? The Showtime documentary on the Comedy Store. Have you seen this?
I have not. It's definitely on my watch list, though. Hearing you talk about it.
I basically bought Showtime for a month so I could watch this, and there was a Belushi documentary that I'd never seen before. And so the guy behind the Comedy Store documentary, I believe is Mike Binder, I want to say, who was a stand-up comic back in the day, back in the early days of the stand-up, the Comedy Store. And, like many other comedians, never really made much of a career out of it. But, for some reason now at this point, he's put this documentary together, and it's a beautiful thing. And he knew all these old people, Letterman and whatnot, and performed with them back in the day. And, it goes from 72 up to the current day. Personally, I'm a little pissed. I wasn't mentioned once, but then again, I, didn't exactly break out of the Comedy Store as other people did. And, I'm not surprised I wasn't invited for the reunion back with all the big celebrities and whatnot. And to be honest, I've never told this story before, but I think it's probably because me and Joe Rogan got into it a couple years ago. And I've never told this story. Rogan rolled into LA about 94. I got there about a year later. And he was already hot shit by the time I got there because he had just started with news radio and whatnot, But so we got into it one night. And we were both drinking. and he accused me of stealing a joke from Carlos Mencia. And and all because at the beginning of the joke, I said, when I was a little boy in Mexico. So I'm not saying I stole it from Carlos, and I'm just kidding. But anyhow, I've never met Joe Rogan. I'd love to meet. I'd like to be in a show. Actually, I'd like to be in his $1 Million podcast, dude. And then that's actually the point that I think I took away most from this documentary is like all of these people who spent their entire lives working away, honing their craft, toiling in the small clubs and touring these little shitholes, just to get to this up the ladder of comedy success, and all these people that came through the Comedy Store to achieve such goals, Richard Pryor and Robin Williams and Sam Kinison, et cetera, et cetera. And and when I went out to Hollywood originally back in '95, that was my goal as well. I mean, I think any stand-up comedian who has ever even gotten up on a stage has thought, boy, if I could make it there, that's the top of the heap. And that's why I never wanted to move to New York. I never wanted to go to Chicago. If I was going to make it in comedy, I was going to make it at the Comedy Store. And I was very determined in that. And I was determined I would never steal material. It would always be original. I would always try to be fresh. I would never try to repeat my jokes. I was gonna take Andy Kaufman and Sam Kinison and Bill Hicks and all that shit and pour it into one big piece of energy. And then, of course, I got stuck with a crazy blonde girlfriend, and just shit went downhill from there. And, it's funny because I read, I see all these stories of these people who, went out to LA, like Jay Leno. And I was living on the back steps of the Comedy Store for weeks, living in my car, blah, blah, blah. Folks, I went out there with like 30 grand in credit cards, man. I fucked it all up in 6 months. I mean, Jesus Christ, I had it all, folks. I was living in Warren Zevon's apartment in West Hollywood. I had, sure, I had a crazy bitch girlfriend, but at least I was getting head on a regular basis. And yet I just couldn't keep my shit together. Couldn't keep my focus on what was really important. I was spending more time at Barney's Beanery than I was at the goddamn Comedy Store. Never got to meet Mitzi, never got to even interview with her and nothing like that. I mean, I had these wonderful opportunities, running into Pauly Shore at the back of the club. I handed him my business card and that's it. I should have just fucking hung on him and handed him a joint and fucking hire me. I never even tried to get a job at the Comedy Store. Never even thought about it. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to work for him. I want to be the star, And, I got to see Dice Clay work out material like well past his Madison Square Garden days. When he wasn't smoking, but he was still carrying the thing as a crutch, and basically he's wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt. He definitely got rid of the studded leather jacket at that point. I was seeing Carlos Mencia before he was accused of stealing shit. Back when he really was fucking funny, folks. Carlos Mencia was fucking funny. But again, look, every comedian has a big ego, and a very, very, very little personal, I can't even describe it, but it's, big ego, small, self-respect, I guess. That's really what it comes down to. But, folks, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to give you a sob story here. I'm just saying this is what happened to me. I'm back.
Okay.
He was a guy that wrote and produced Freaks and Geeks, and he's done a whole bunch of movies now, like this 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, Judd Apatow.
Thank you, Judd Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you heard the story about Apatow when he was like 16 or so? He got the idea on his high school, I guess he was in New York, high school radio station to start interviewing comics.
Okay.
And for like 2 years, he would con all these comedians into, letting him interview them for the radio station. He wouldn't tell them it was, for a high school radio station.
Right.
And
it's just like I did for WSR. Yeah, it's the big Ohio State campus radio station, man. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so he did that for like 2 years, and that's how he got into comedy. So he started getting into comedy when he was like 18 in his senior year of high school. I'm just, life's opportunities come and gone. You can't dwell on the past, but goddamn, man,
We cannot.
I hope there is an opportunity to get a do-over in life. I hope when you get up to the gates of heaven, they'll go, "Are you happy?"
Just unlimited. Yeah. I think you get to do whatever you want to do. But yeah, I know. I mean, I think about it all the time. It's like, God damn, if I had like the kind of the technology and stuff, if I would have been learning like the stuff I'm doing now in college instead of like the antiquated fucking shit that was going out of, fucking, it was all obsolete when we were learning it.
And again, I mean, my senior year when they were teaching that 500 level course and this brand new thing called the internet, I'm like, who the fuck? Come on, now, get out.
I never went to computer lab once in college, so that tells you, I was able to get through fucking 5 years of college without going to computer lab
on
once.
A typewriter.
I did it. I had a word processor, a glorified typewriter. It had a little screen. I type it all in there, and then it would print it out.
Yeah.
But
all right, so back to comedy. So, Kevin, after watching this, and by the way, I really should get a hold of the producer on this one and just contact him, see if he wants to come on the podcast, because now I'm inspired. By watching this program, I've come to the realization that, after all this hard work, after, all this effort and all this time to write your material and perform on stage, and the anxiety and the stress and the travel and blah, blah, all you got to do is fucking start a podcast now and make $1 million fucking dollars like Joe Rogan. So, dude, we are way ahead of the curve here, dude. If, we should do a documentary on me and my lack of success. Even though we started all of this shit well before the goddamn Daily Show. I mean, dude, the original idea for What the Hell Was That was essentially the Daily Show. I mean, it was gonna be a ripoff of Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update, just basically a half hour of like a fake news program and of course this is like back in the early 90s, so graphics were not available really for public access kind of thing. We probably could have done it if we did study a little harder. But I mean, we can do that shit now, Kevin. We can actually make What the Hell Was That look like I wanted it to look back in '94. So I think we need to do a little reboot on the show. Take it out of the Kiss Shrine here, and we can or better yet, we can do a green screen and pretend like we've actually got like a news background kind of shit.
Todd, there are backgrounds available here on Zoom where we record this.
There you go.
So, you just have to play around with that, and you can pick, I know at a work meeting today, someone had a nice,
I should just go back
and scene.
Learn what I should have fucking learned 25 years ago. But, so anyhow, my point about the Comedy Store is this, we need to contact Joe Rogan. We need to get hold of Mark Maron. Can you imagine like hanging out with Mark Maron and Sam Kinison back in the damn day? Now, I would have loved to have been a fly on a wall for that little coke fest. But, Jesus. Again, opportunities had, opportunities missed. What are you going to do about it? You can't cry over spilled milk. However, what I can do is keep going, keep pushing. Like as Rodney Dangerfield once told, I'm losing his name now, Gilbert Gottfried. You got to be like a tank. Keep going. Now you can move the turret left and right, but you got to keep going straight. So God bless Rodney. Smoked weed right to the end. That's my goal. As a comedian and as a human being, just to be puffing away right till that last fucking stroke, get you. But so anyhow, so my point is this, folks. We're gonna keep doing more episodes of What the Hell Was That? I've not. The book's almost done. Ticket stubs is on. We're on the final draft now. Once I get the book done, Kevin, then I can start calling Mark Maron and start calling Joe Rogan. So I'll actually have something to plug. So I'm looking forward to the future here, folks. There's a lot of positivity still left, I believe, in this tank, and so as long as the government keeps my unemployment running through September, I can look forward to possibly finding a new career. Fuck actually moving back to LA, Kevin. I'm not spending 30 grand on fucking rent a year when I'm living here in paradise in Florida for $500, $600 a month. Hell with that. I'm just gonna go back to LA, once, twice a year. Go back for a weekend. Hit up the Comedy Store, hit up the Improv, hit up the Laugh Factory. record the whole damn thing. Hell, we'll make a documentary out of it, Kevin. Shit. If anything, it's the people who are telling their stories, whether they're funny or not, tragic, sad. It's the storytellers that are going to start making that money on Showtime and on Netflix and whatnot. So, fuck it, man. I don't necessarily have to be at the club every damn night anymore. And I should have tried harder. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I'm not dead yet, folks. And you'll be seeing more of Reverend Todd Baker's What the Hell Was That in the upcoming weeks and months and years. Because Reverend Todd Baker's running for president in 2024, motherfuckers. Bring it on! You're watching Reverend Todd Baker's What the Hell Was That? See you next week.
Rocky, stop eating grass.